What do you need to do? Anything that you need to do? Hello everyone. So today is our second live where we're reviewing the products that people had made in our community. Some of them may have some active users, and as a token of gratitude for them being engaged in the community and positively engaging with other folks, we had decided to review the products first. And so let's move on. So in the previous stream, we had covered these three products, and now from today, we'd be moving down the list to this first one. So this is the first product, Access Pulse. It is a security and compliance software for your Microsoft 365 as an enterprise. Now, one problem here is that, well, I am not well versed in um, the security and compliance softwares. So I'd have a hard time like giving my own opinions on this. And therefore, one thing that I did was that I asked AI to just help me out with this. Like, tell me about what this product is, where does it stand strong, and where does it stand weak. Anyways, so I have actually read all of this, and let's first do a review here, and then we'll probably cover some pointers from here. SOC2. Okay, so what some of you may not know is what SOC2 means. So I actually didn't know either. So SOC2 is a sort of compliance about about multiple things actually. Let's just pull it up. There are two types of it. Okay. Controls assesses if controls are suitably designed at a single point in time. Okay. So you do not have something like new controls were made at a suspicious time, something like that. Right. That's how effectively those controls operate over a period, providing greater assurance. Okay, so it could be who you give your controls to, who has access to data, who is able to, let's say, modify that data, delete that data, and stuff like that. Okay, I think that, okay, let's look at it this way. I'm assuming that if you have made a security and compliance software, then you're sure to have some knowledge about it, right? So definitely there's nothing technical that I can tell you. I'm assuming that. But one thing would be which uh ChatGPT also pointed out to me is a software like this hard to replicate? Like, let's say, I read your about section here as well, where it says that this was built by one single person, right? So, what if I hire a team of developers to build something like this, or uh, if I'm an enterprise, if I'm a big company, why would I not have an internal software that checks for compliances or checks for SOC2? I think that's something to be understood, that what's your differentiator here, and is it strong enough to hold when you're gonna have competitors, or if you already do have competitors? And another thing is, which I pointed out to me, is SOC2 is probably a one-time process, that let's say you do SOC2 reviews every single month, then someone would just come in, pay for your service, then and then for the whole month you would like probably have no business, right? So, like, it's a one-time thing. That's something that AI pointed out. And another thing would be that it gives or it tells the user what the problem with the system is, right? So, for instance, it says readiness 87%, and flags is actually useful. Users would be useful. Readiness 87%. What does this mean for me as someone who is responsible for auditing this sort of stuff? What does it mean for me that, okay, even if the readiness is, let's say, 95% and there is just one flag, then I would assume that it means it's good enough to just move on, right? I do not need to take any actions. Does readiness sort of refer to that? And one more thing would be, how are you calculating this readiness? Which means, are there is there a certain severity of issues that um, affect this readiness more than certain other factors or certain other flags? Let's say there is no multi-factor authentication sort of affects the readiness by, let's say, 3%, and a guest admin affects the readiness by 5% or 6%, like double of no multi-factor authentication. Is that how it works? Because even now, let's say the readiness is 87%, and you just have two things. There's a no multi-factor authentication for one user, and another user has been made a like guest admin, right? So, I mean, both of these could be very big issues, right? Why would you be having guest admins? Whatever this person does would likely um, not be getting tracked, right? You do not have the data of this person. They just have guest.vendor. They do not have an identity in your company, right? And then no multi-factor authentication. I mean, it could be something severe, but it's definitely not as severe as a guest admin, right? So I do not understand this field, this readiness field. And one more thing that AI pointed out was, is there the possibility that you could uh, maybe give the user a sort of button, like let's say in front of each of these flags, so that they could just one click fix this. Even if you were to take some permissions, like you take some read permissions, you take some modify permissions, you take some update permissions, right? Is there possibility of doing that? Because um something like that makes this platform more powerful, you know. And another thing is, I assume that anywhere I see report, I'm like, boss, this needs to be exportable. This needs to this like I need to be able to export this into a PDF, into a doc, into something that I can share with my team, right? Um, Apart from that, I think this is a really cool platform. I won't be like able to use it because I'm on a Mac, so this is probably less usable for me than it would be for someone with a Windows, right? Or actually, well, of course, if I have, let's say, Microsoft 365 on the web, then I would probably be able to test it, but I need lots of data for that, right? You do have a daily snapshot, okay, but let's say, would the user want to pay for a daily snapshot, or would they want to like do all of this inside of a monthly audit rather than doing it daily? Is it like the cost to benefit ratio is it in favor of doing it monthly? And also, I think that okay, you are just doing a like a beta, so I think it's fine. And I assume that since it's still in beta, I think um you can do GTM with this because mm, it would be very helpful to bring some real people on it, bring some users on it, and try and see if your platform gives them the value that they're paying for. If your platform gives them the the usability that they would want with something like this, a compliance software like this, right? Now we can move on to the next product, which I was still in the process of setting up. So let me just show it to you. And I'm sipping my coffee again. It's like still around what? Around 7 a.m. here. The previous stream we did was like very early. It was around 5:30 or something. So what this seems to do is, okay, let's not try to judge it by the first CTI see. Okay. Hmm. So right output. You spend more time editing a output than writing from scratch. Oh, is it? An agency operators. Okay, you're running 5 to 10 distinct client voices and need them to pay separate. Hmm. Okay, let me show you something very interesting about this. I think that this platform might have a bunch of problems, like um on an initial review. Hmm, that's interesting. Let's just check it out, can I? Okay, you haven't posted yet. Okay, so from what I understand, this is like this is a software that you can use to generate the content that you can post inside of LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, lots of different platforms, right? I think if you are supporting 7 platforms, then you can include 7 platforms here as well, so that someone could just you know click through this that Okay, this platform, how does it seem? On this platform, how does it seem? Stuff like that. Now, there's a huge problem with this. Um, I think aren't custom GPTs already solving this? Or can't you have something like I'm pretty sure you can have uh some sort of yeah, see, you can have okay, not Claude skills. Mm, does it offer some sort of customization as well? Yeah, we have this personal preferences and stuff like that. Hmm. So I'd imagine that either you can set up a custom GPT for generating content that's in your tone, it's your in the set of buzzwords or the set of um let's say hooks that you use rather than paying for something like this. You know, the okay, so let's go over each of the problems that you say that no AI tool has fixed yet. Is it? I doubt that it's really true. Okay, let's go over each of these things because I think that there's some problem with the phrasing that you're using. The M dashes, you can just tell the software to not have those. You can tell the software to not use any buzzwords. Um, I think hooks you should be able to give to the AI that these are the certain set of hooks that I want you to use rather than having something like let's dive in and all these sorts of buzzwords that that are just generic and they're not at all interesting for someone who's watching or someone who's reading. Okay, now with this, that is something interesting. You're saying that through throughout the session, the because of the context window of the AI being full or being um like incrementally increasing or exponentially increasing, the AI forgets what your original instructions were, right? About all of this, I think you should be able to do some sort of prompt engineering or some sort of um, customization at your end that can actually fix this. I mean, there's no constraint on AI anywhere, right? Even I doubt that you would be able to constrain AI to only use certain things rather than having it use some other things, right? And even I would disagree to this because prompt engineering does actually fix that. Like, let me just show you. I had Claude open just a moment ago, and something very interesting I did was so I had to write an English project where or not write but rather type because we still have to write certain large pieces of text, believe it or not. So I had to read The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka and then write a critical book review about that, about what are implications I can draw from it, um whatever the story was, whatever the plot and summary were, like everything. So that someone who hasn't read it may want to read it rather than just listening to this. So I gave it some sort of a prompt like this. I told it to use a humanized tone for writing this, avoiding this sort of formatting, long dashes and emojis to maintain formality because this is an academic work. And I told it to write from the perspective of the reader, told it to use direct incidents or quotes that it remembers from the metamorphosis so as to maintain credibility and authority in whatever it's saying. And I told it to write this in 1.5 to 2 pages, right? And it gave me this. I'm gonna read out all of this, of course, but just see this. All of this, all of this. Now, and actually, the person, the like our professor who was checking this, they weren't able to figure out that this was actually written with AI or not. This actually does seem like a literature that someone could use, like that someone may have written or that I may have written. I'm not saying that, okay, I'm so good at writing stuff like this, but it may seem that, okay, a college student has written it who is probably good with English. Even though I was a bit unsatisfied with this because it was not to the depth that I would have liked. It was like this literature was harder to read that than I like. So I just told it that to turn down the language a bit, so that it becomes more readable. Then it gave me this. Is it the same thing? Let's just say, okay, it's the same thing. This whatever this document was does not exist anymore. I just have this. Okay. Then see with okay, so for the philosophical bit, I gave it a lot of text, which I actually just dictated, not actually wrote all of this by myself. And it asked me some things that it would want in this literature, it would want in the things that it is gonna write. So you can say that AI is reasoning with whatever it wants to write and whatever it wants to have me clarify, right? Rather than writing something on its own. And I gave it whatever clarifications it needed, and then it cooked up a new analysis, cooked up a new doc where we have all of this. And what your platform is specifically for, which is let's say writing posts or writing something for another platform. Let me show you something. So this is Naman's LinkedIn profile, and let me just show you the posts that he has made. Okay, so look at a post like this. MNCs are spending XYZ. Meanwhile, we are doing it in less. Tu, 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 tu. So what I want to signal here is he has also written this with AI, apparently. Some things may be able to give it away, but he has actually written this with AI because he has the prompting skills to generate something with AI that is that does not seem AI-ish. That seems very human. That seems like it has been written by a person who's actually good at writing. And so they have cooked up this whole post rather than someone who has just generated some AI slop and has just posted. And similar to this, I think you can just generate something for your Instagram carousels, your Instagram captions, or something that you can generate for Twitter, or well, generate for X, not Twitter now. Okay, I noticed that I had read Twitter somewhere. You should not probably use Twitter here. You should use X. My coffee has become too strong today, man. I always have my coffee with a pinch of salt in it because I think I saw Andrew Huberman saying that early in the morning a little bit of salt intake is good. So you can go for it. But today is it's a bit too bitter. Not that I have a problem, but it would have been better with some more water. Okay, generic AI output versus voice enforced output. Billing in public matters for surrounding published my API cost breakdown on Reddit last month. Two people told me I was undercharging. One told me model was unsustainable. All three signed up. Transparency. Okay. Okay. So let's do an interesting exercise because oh man, there's a mosquito. Okay. Let's generate something right now. Would I be able to dictate? Wait. What was this generated for? Okay, it's not written whether this was written for X or LinkedIn or something else. So let's write something for X. I am a solo developer who has made a SaaS that does SOC 2 compliance. It has shown great positive response with 5 active users in the first month of me operating it. I had only marketed it on a couple of Reddit threads and I got a lot of positive response from other Redditors. Okay, it messed up here. Redditors who said that this is very useful. and that they would probably love to have something like this used in their own organization. Um, Write a Twitter post. Fuck, it's not a Twitter post. Tweet saying that I have built something like this and it already have 5 active users in the first month of me operating it, with the only marketing for it being done on a couple of Reddit threads. Maintain a formal tone, professional tone, with no AI textual formatting, such as long dashes or buzzwords that feel too generic and AI ish. Here is a good example a Twitter of a tweet that I think is good, postable. And now what we'll do is we'll just paste this here. Here is an example of what I do not want it to be like. Let's just tell it to not use emojis as well. No text formatting, or buzzwords or emojis. Right. Let's just give this some amount of criticism so we can improve on this as well. This seems to not have enough detail, and this also seems to not tell people enough about what I have built or what I'm doing. Okay, well, that is not having enough detail, but even though specifying it, I think would be better that this is the detail that it's missing. Well, AI is smart enough to understand. Let's just see how many words it generates. Your task is to do not exceed the word limit. Okay, now let's just run this. Okay, now what it did was build a SaaS that handles this, no ads, no outreach campaign, posted onto Reddit threads, swiping it, Hmm, this actually seems a bit AI. Right from a first person perspective, and use complete sentences while maintaining a professional tone. This still seems like AI. Focus on the example that I gave you, where the person had written this from the first person perspective and used complete sentences. Hmm, okay. Actually, AI is doing a bad job here. What if we start a new one? I think it's a really good thing that they have written it from the first person perspective, from the very first line, and they're using complete sentences as well. Something that AI forgets to do. Now let's see. Okay, look at something like this. Posted about my SOC2 compliance tool on Reddit twice. That is the entire marketing history of this product. 1 month later, 5 teams are actively using this. Compliance is not a hot space, but apparently it is a desperate one. People do not want to hire a consultant for 6 months. They want software that just handles it. This is a good one. Um, this might also be a good one with just a little bit of editing. So you see, between paying $15 for this or just having something like Claude do it or just having something like ChatGPT do it, would I would probably use the latter one, right? And with Claude or with something like ChatGPT, you can just um let's say build certain frameworks around the type of content or around the type of tone that you want to maintain in in your posts or in whatever things you post, and you can just make it once and then just keep it aside. You can just keep using it n number of times, right? Instead of, let's say, what's the pricing here? So we have $15, 15 generations per month. So look at this. You can just get 15 generations for 7 content platforms. So that is, I would need at least 30, right? I would need at least 30. Here, what do you have? 40 generations per month. So I'd have to pay $60 because anyone would want to post like every day a month, right? Every day of that month. And sometimes maybe when people would want to post multiple times a day, let's say for something like Twitter, you would want to post multiple times a day, right? I think this something like this would be a bit hard to sell. The um I can say moat that you have is probably polishing or probably writing the content for or yeah, repurposing. I'm searching for the correct word. The mode you have is repurposing the content for multiple social platforms at once, right? Rather than rather than writing it or rather than generating it well. I think the only mode you have right now is repurposing. But again, I think if you're able to figure out a template like this with whatever you want and whatever you do not want, I think you can just make this once, keep it aside, and then keep using it multiple times whenever you want to generate something. Just it took me like what, 10-15 minutes to just figure out this for X, right? I can just do the same for LinkedIn, for Reddit, giving it some good examples. Like, this is called here we have a one shot approach. I think the example, okay, this is the example. I thought this had somehow disappeared. So this is called a few shot approach where I have given it two examples inside of the prompt that I have given it with what I want and also with what I do not want. I've used um this like this way of writing, like your task is to do XYZ. It's better than just telling it to write a tweet. Somehow, like I read it inside a research paper on prompt engineering, but I'm sure it has evolved a lot more. I read it like what 1.5 year ago, and mm, these things just keep evolving at an exponential pace. I think you can do a bit more product research and probably I can say you can phrase your featuring or phrase the features that you have in a better manner rather than probably what it is now, because I still think, or actually, you know what, you can use a lot of examples. Like if this had, let's say, three case studies of what someone used to post on their Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Reddit with um, like with just ChatGPT or Claude or something like that, versus when they came to this platform and started using it, then I think you can get people to actually buy this or actually try this out rather than now. Because you see, I do not know what this means, like right off the bat, right? I do not know what this means. I need to see it for myself. I need to know that, okay, these are the XYZ things that I can clearly see are better in the content that was generated by Split Post rather than something that was generated by Claude. Okay, let's take a small break and let's see what's happening. Let's see. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? How is everyone? Hey, Nemo. Hey, Yuan. I think Yuan. Yes, I think Yuan would be the right way. Or uh, if you pronounce it like some other way, you can just let me know. So, guys, are you enjoying the stream up till now? Okay, that's a great question. Okay, cool, man. Thanks. So, so about the products, we actually run a community by the name of Early Adopters on Discord, where we have lots of different people who, cool, Nemo, no worries. So on Early Adopters, we have like around 350 people who, many of which engage positively in the community, and many of whom have also showcased their products in the community. Let me just show it to you. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Sorry, sorry. I thought that you were someone new. I think I told it in the beginning as well. decide which products to try based on the people who have been engaging positively in the community, right? Um, or like specifically, we want people to review other people's products as well. So it's a give and take. If you review other people's products, then your product will be reviewed as well. That's what we had. That's how we curated this list. We went to the product showcase and then um, we just went over who are the people who are most active on our Discord. So these were the people actually. And in the previous one, we were just able to cover three. And I think in this one, we'd also be able to cover three, probably four, but definitely three. And we are planning to, of course, add new products here based on, I think, a bunch of more products were posted on the product showcase channel. So we'll be adding to this once we have exhausted reviewing the products here. Probably from the next to next stream, we'd be able to review newer products. Yep, cool man. What's up? By the way, what time is it at your place? I think um you joined the stream, joined the previous stream as well, right? Yep, 8:54. Hmm, cool man. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so Get After is a platform that okay, so this tries to do something very interesting. So let's say you have a meeting with a client or um with someone you are trying to pitch building a product to, because that's what I did. Basically somewhere where you can explain what you're building and whatever you would price it as, or however much you will charge that person as. For instance, you have a meeting. Okay, so let's say you did a meeting, then if you're using an AI for making meeting notes, that AI would probably shoot you an email with a transcript of the meeting and the summary that it has generated. There are a bunch of platforms for that, something like Otter or some other platforms. So, what Get After thought was that it's a better idea to rather generate um, a branded landing page or a branded follow-up page, as they call it, to shoot to your client or shoot to whoever you were having that meeting with, so as to summarize whatever happened in that meeting in the form of a page that would be easier to read, that would be more intriguing to read for them. Okay, so here are a couple of not a couple, there are four case studies that we can see. These the one, right? So this is something that I generated with a meeting that I had with someone. Okay, one problem is that okay, this one doesn't work. Tim wasted. Okay, this one doesn't work. And for these three, okay, so look, this is actually something pretty interesting. And it was generated pretty quick as well. Okay. We are not gonna read through this. Seems like, of course, it's written by AI, so it would seem very AI-ish. Sorry. Okay. Oh man, they seemed way too detailed. How do we figure out the CTA? Hmm. Okay, one thing that I had in this landing page is if you have a CTA on top, you should also have a CTA at the bottom, like here or above this. If you're just doing a beta, then of course you should say it as well. And you should have it somewhere in the middle as well. Because let's say here I see, okay, I don't want to sign up yet. I want to read all of this first. And then at the I go at the bottom, or well, I reach the bottom and there's no CTA. Then I mean, it would create a lot of friction for someone to just sign up here. That's one. This is something else. Okay. And we have this. I do not like that the themes are pretty uniform. Why is it all blue? This is blue and orange. This is, or matlab, I mean, some sort of orange, then blue and golden, and this is just blue. I do not like that. This is a landing page that I generated for a meeting that I had with someone. Now see, I had a meeting with someone who's trying to build a product in the maritime space because they're they're a merchant navy sailor, right? Um, there was a problem when this got generated. It actually sent me three emails, emails with the same content and with the same like view it now button. So I don't know what happened there, but definitely an error. And one thing that I can say from the meeting that I had and with the content that it has generated is I think having someone go through this versus having them go through some Notion notes that I've prepared or some meeting notes that were generated by the software that they were using because they were also using a software for recording a meeting. And I think that um, something like this is very useful. The next steps, then Key points, I don't think that having them laid out as cards is more readable than having them written in a sort of list like this. And I think you were actively working on making the generation in the brand's colors, right? Hmm. They're gonna price it on or price it as $99 or 99 euros. Euros, or do you call this pound? 20 pages per month plus PDF upload. PDF upload for white label. Client chatbot on every page. Hmm. I think making something like this. Okay, so I see a software that uses AI in this manner. If I am able to create or achieve whatever you are offering with just prompt engineering, with let's say with my own skill set, then I would not buy your product. I always think that if I'm offering something to the customer and they're a pro developer or they have a team of engineers who can build a SaaS or build the features that my product is offering, then I think that idea would probably die off quickly, right? So let's say this, can I not ask my engineers to set up a little um software or set up a little webhook or set up a little endpoint that I can just call after the meeting with the meeting notes that my software has made, and which could generate a page like this, or well, a page like this, where um all of these cards and all of these titles, these descriptions would just be part of a larger template, and the meeting notes that my software has made would just be used to fill these spaces, you know. Mm. I think that's what you are doing as well, where somehow the AI layer would be very accurate, because I can think around building something like this. I would probably use JSON prompting for that. Like that's a way of prompting as well that lets you prompt the AI in the form of a JSON with key value pairs, where you have keys that represent something that you can fill inside of a template, and or even it could be enumerated values, what you call enums, right? And the AI has just the task of filling up that value with the data that it has. It's more accurate for the AI, or even if you're not filling up a template, it's easier for the AI or more clear for the AI to understand what you are saying rather than if you had said it in a long paragraph that because with paragraphs or with a lot of text, there's the problem of the flow of whatever you are writing, right? You can just mess up the flow. You might say something that contradicts what you said earlier, right? So JSON prompting avoids all of that. And I would probably not want this to be a landing page as such. Probably I can just um cook up a standard Notion or standard doc where I already have all the information that would be needed for me doing business with this person. right? That helps this person to know whether they would want to do business with me or not. Because see, they've already seen your landing page. They do not need to see another landing page, right? Um, they've already gone through your landing page. That's why they have probably asked to set up a meeting with you, right? Rather than them having to see another landing page, I think something more compressed and something more clear or and something extremely readable, like something like this. You literally have rows and action items. That's the best thing. Um, Even I set up things on Notion like this. So I would just go have a long list of things that I would want to do. Everything, everyone does that rather than, something like this. Okay, there are cards, there's a long paragraph. I doubt that the client would want to do this probably. And with these case studies, I think, or rather, I wonder whether this is the information that would have in um that you would discuss in a meeting rather than something like this. So we literally just went over what their idea was. We scoped out, okay, what things do you need? And we scoped out what the next steps could be so that we can have something that we're able to do in the meantime. And I think this is really accurate. We decided on these exact things, and this was the exact date that we decided this to do. Or, well, rather, this was the exact date that we decided this to complete on. What else? So, yeah, I think something like this. So, imagine you are a client who wants to, who has already thought of the sort of window that they want to build for, or that they want to get for their building. Then why would they want to see this again? Isn't this clutter for them? If they want to just see, they would just go back to a landing page. Why would they come here? It's sort of like having two sources of truths, right? Rather than rather than having a single source of truth that is easier to manage and that is very convenient for you to just go and check. Whereas this is probably very useful. If you have written out that, okay, the client wants me to do all of this, they have this and they are asking for this. And I think you were still building um, on making these landing pages according to the brand kit of the client, right? So that's something that I do not have feedback on right now since you're already building that. I think scoping out the things that you're offering or the scoping out the template that you have set in for the AI. Apart from that, um, I think you can keep building on it and then GTM it later. And I also think that the pricing is probably too expensive. It could even be that, let's say, If you're working in sales, then I would imagine that whatever you offer stays uniform throughout those, let's say, 30 sales meeting that you had that month. I'm pretty sure that that would stay uniform. Then your offering should not be a part of that landing page. It just wastes credits, and it gives the client two sources of truths. Rather than that, the more important thing for a landing page that you generate is simply whatever was discussed between you two as an action item for either you or the client, or some sort of requirements that the client has made to you. Okay, let's go back to, oh shit. Oh right. Oh man. Did I mess it up? Oh no. Okay. Wait, let's just go back to this. Oh man. Okay, so let me just show it off. I have already talked a lot about this. So this was the landing page that I was talking about by Get After. These were the examples that they had cooked up. Oh shoot, man, that was bad. I think, anyways, the person who has made this product can go through their own platform and then um, just check for the things that I told them, right? I mean, not that anything could be done about it right now. And I just said that this sort of a structure is really useful um for like the client or your team after a meeting that you had with your client, so as to see the requirements that they have for you and any action items that you have between each other, right? So something that you have to do and something that the client has to do. I also wonder if this platform is only for meetings related to sales, or is it also for meetings that a team had like within themselves? That would be something interesting to know. Okay, let's go back to the chat. Let's see what has happened. It was not intentional. Oh man, thanks for pointing it out, and the to me for not seeing it earlier. But oh well, you do some good and you do some bad. It's all right. How did you find this review stream, Yuan? Did it seem that I had intentionally not shown my screen or something? And we would just wait for probably 5-10 minutes, and then we might end the stream right now. Okay, I think I phrased it a bit bad. So I do not mean that doing something with bad intentions, but rather something that messes up. It's not that you were trying to mess it up, but it just got messed up. And I think that's okay. Well, I actually find philosophy very interesting. Like, um, even I was right, yeah, yeah. I was thinking of starting I don't know, a philosophy podcast or something. I can go into a bit of depth about that. Yeah, it's probably that, since it's not that we are just reviewing, let's say, um, 10 products in an hour. That's not what we are doing. We are reviewing in depth and detail three products in around 90 minutes or 80 minutes. So I can think that the people who join here, um, despite of us just reviewing, let's say three products each stream, are not in it selfishly or well, are not in it just for getting their product reviewed or getting their product marketed, because a few of the people in our Discord were like that, and we had to ban like three people because they were just marketing their own product, or they were DMing other people to check out their own product instead of them getting other people's product reviewed or getting attention to them. So that it's fine if you ping us about that I have posted this product, and I've also been participating positively in reviewing other people's products. Then we are very happy to add your product to this list. Like afterwards, of course, after we have exhausted the current list. So yeah, and so I can expect that only the makers of the products that we are reviewing, or the people who genuinely want to see like other people's products reviewed, to learn from it, or to know what mistakes they have made, or to know how better software can be made from my perspective. Um, Only those sort of people would probably join these streams. And a lot of people are probably not suited for this time zone as well. I think we would be happy to adjust the time at which we do these live streams so that the most amount of people are able to join. That's also something that we were thinking. Nemosaurus is an interesting name. Okay, so afterwards, we have reviewed these three, and afterwards, we would probably pick up these two and one from here. And again, I would like to mention that we have included these separate from all of these because these were actually female healthcare specific products. So, um, neither I nor Naman would be the right person to test them and review them based on what we find during the testing because we are neither healthcare professionals nor females, right? So, we would just go over them and um, tell you what we think about them. Okay, let me just show it to you. I'm talking about these two products here. So, we'll just go over them and tell you what we think. Because I mean, we won't be the right people to show this. Yeah, right. I, um, I imagine so. Thanks for like bringing this to my attention again. Like, I'm happy to know that you're very active on the stream as well. Okay, I think it's time. So we'll be doing another stream next week, which is Sunday for me and probably Saturday for you. So, okay, have a great, what time is it? Have a great night. Bye.